Hi, my name is Alyssa Mulliger. I'm a reporter with the Spartanburg Herald-Journal, and today I am sitting down with Jansen Tidmore of the Downtown Development Partnership. We're going to talk about ebb and flow in downtown Spartanburg. So, first question I've got for you, Jansen, how is downtown Spartanburg's ebb and flow different from other downtowns?
I think it's an exciting time in downtown Spartanburg, and just like any community, downtowns are very unique because the businesses are local businesses. They're businesses that are an individual's passion, their hobby, something that they really care about. The one thing about that is typically the success of that business ebbs and flows with that individual as well. And so you traditionally across downtowns have more of an attrition rate and rates of failure than you might have in some of the more chain type settings. And you think about that when you look at national chains, they're corporations that may swap out management, but the head structure, the concept doesn't change with that manager. If one of our local businesses loses its owner or loses the individual that opened that shop, there's a whole new dynamic that comes along with that. So across downtowns, across America, or across the world, you do see a higher closure rate than maybe what you would see in some of those strip malls, strip centers, power centers. Typically what you see, just like we're seeing right now with Toys R Us and others, is that when they close in masses. And it's coming off of something like bankruptcy. And so when it does, it sends these shock waves, where downtown businesses is more of that attrition rate, that in, that out. One of the great things that we're seeing about Spartanburg right now is that our net positive of businesses is a lot larger than our losses. And so while we hate to lose any business, we know that's the nature of the game. And so when we look at 20 restaurants announced over the last 9 months, people point out, well, yeah, there's been closures too. Yeah, 4 closures. That's a net 16. So that's a very positive trend. What we're seeing is net growth, which impacts hospitality tax going up, foot traffic going up, more people that are wanting to come to downtown Spartanburg. So we're in a very positive environment. Even with that flow out, we're very excited about what's happening. We're definitely in a high growth potential phase. Our net growth is just really off the charts from what it's been.
And so this ebb and flow activity, I think you've put it once before, these revolving doors. Is this a healthy thing to have in a downtown?
It can be. And so, you have those buildings that historically will be, oh, well, that's always a restaurant. Every 5 years, it's a different restaurant. Every 3 years, it's a different restaurant. Our hope is that you get that one that becomes a legacy. And so, I think we have to do a number of things. We have to, as an economic development arm, evaluate why those are closing. And so, we're very much a data-driven organization. Anyone that's heard me speak, anyone that's talked to me knows that I drive home day to day to day that we make data-driven decisions. And so we want to be honest and look at that. Do they close because of sales? Did the sales just not justify the business? Did they close because maybe the individual really wants a change in lifestyle? Maybe that retail shop, the hours that retail demands, it no longer fits in their lifestyle. Did they close because a spouse or something's moving them out of town? It's understanding why those are closing. If we have a lot of closures that are due to sales, then we've really got to evaluate, was it a service, was it a product, or was it because we're not building density and we're overbuilding? I think that's very important for us to ask. I do think that we're one that need to be honest with our merchants and honest with the businesses about what our capacity is. And in the economic development world, we call it surplus and leakages. And so, your leakage means that there's other areas, there's other communities that are getting income that should be in your community. Your surplus means that you've got more product than there is demand. And so it's our responsibility to really try to have a grasp on that. And that's very important as we measure whether this is a systemic problem for the failures or whether it's just part of the nature of that business or individual business.
Okay. And then last question I've got for you, kind of tagging along to that, what are some of the other major factors in downtown Spartanburg that are coming into play with maybe some of these revolving doors, whether it be competition or the like?
One of the things we talk often about is that we hope every business that comes downtown is a complementary business. You don't want necessarily a lot of direct competition. We look at elements that grow that pie. And so, I have two examples that come out often that I'll talk about. We went from a market in downtown that just did not have ice cream and dessert shops, and so the data showed that. And so there was a number of businesses that started doing evaluations on Spartanburg, and then you saw quite a bit of ice cream shops open in downtown Spartanburg. And so people say, why don't they all come online at the same time? Well, there was a need that was demonstrated out there. You have multiple channels. It's a numbers game in economic development. You had a number of channels that were evaluating and doing their due diligence and saw that need. So they open. Of course, we saw one that fell out from that race. We see two more coming into the race. And, it's just kind of watching and balancing that. We are talking with those individuals. We're wanting to track those sales, seeing what we can do. Another one that comes up often is coffee shops. And this is one that I love to talk about, because Little River Coffee Bar, that is the heart and soul of our downtown community. You see people there all the time. And so there was a lot of concern when Starbucks announced about what it'll do to Little River. I'm here to tell you, and I am excited to see those 1 year over 1 year stats when Starbucks open. I think Little River is going to grow in sales. I don't see Starbucks, as much as many people see it, as a competitor. That's not what it is. It grows the pie. It brings a different type of demographic than what Little River. Those folks that are going down there and meeting there, they're going to continue to go down there and meet down there. Starbucks is going to attract a different type of coffee drinker, a different type of demographic. It's going to pull that casual person from the AC. I think you're going to see our overall coffee industry grow downtown. And so when we talk about complementary roles, those aren't direct competitors, as much as it may seem like they are. There's a reason when you go to big cities that there's a Starbucks on every corner and a local one in between. The model works. And so, again, it's our responsibility to really understand that data and drive that data and help protect the element that we can. Again, our job is not to tell any business they can't open up shop. What I often tell folks is that those numbers help affect what we're actively recruiting and what we're incentivizing. And so that's very important to keep in mind. Any business, it's a free economy, can come and operate, and we welcome them with open arms. We're using the data to actively recruit and incentivize opening. And so that's important to remember in such cases as this.
All right. Well, thank you, Jansen, for chatting with me today. Appreciate it.
Anytime.